Welcome to another GamblingSites.org sports betting how-to video. I'm Drew Goldfarb, and today we'll be breaking down totals bets. As we know, there are many different types of bets that you can place on sports, and totals bets are one of the more popular ones. Also known as the over-under, this bet is placed on the total number of points scored in a game by the two teams combined. Instead of worrying about who wins and who loses a game, all you have to worry about here is how many points are scored. It's one of the simplest bets available, which can be very appealing to a bettor regardless of experience level, but don't be fooled by the simplicity of this wager. Just like with any other bet, there are strategies and risks involved. So if you've ever wondered how these bets work, we're going to go into it right now. Although they're called totals, this type of bet is often referred to as the over-under due to the nature of the wager. In short, the sportsbook sets a number of points that they think will be scored in a game, and you decide whether you think that the actual total number of points will be over or under the number set by the sportsbook. Let's check out an example. So in this example, we've got a game between the Atlanta Braves and the Colorado Rockies. The total is set at over 10.5 minus 115 and under 10.5 minus 105. This means that the totals line is set at 10.5 runs. So if you're placing a bet, you'd be deciding whether you think the Braves and Rockies will combine to score 10 runs or fewer with the under, or 11 runs or more with the over. In this example, the two starting pitchers had combined to allow just one earned run over their first few appearances to start the season, so you might decide that this game was destined to be a pitcher's duel and take the under. But if you thought the early season sample size was too small and the thin mountain air and run-friendly Coors Field would mean this game would be full of big home runs, well then you'd take the over. But what about that half point? It actually serves a huge purpose. Since you can't score half a run in baseball or a half point in football or basketball or score half a goal in hockey, that half point in the totals line is put there intentionally. Sportsbook use that half point to prevent a push, which would result in a tie in sports betting. If the line is set at 10 and the final score is 6-4, then your wager and literally everyone else's would push and nobody wins the bet. So now you're probably wondering how much to bet. Well, the other number in our example will help you out there. In our example, the over was set at minus 115. That means that you would have to bet $115 in order to win $100 on the wager. Likewise, the under was set at minus 105, so you need to bet $105 on the under in order to win $100 there. These are not even money wagers. That's how sportsbooks make their money regardless of who wins the game. They set intriguing payouts on both the over and the under, hoping to draw an even amount of action on both sides. In closing, betting on totals has its advantages. None are more obvious than the simplicity of the wager. You bet on the over or you bet on the under. This makes it great for beginners because of how simple it is to understand what you're betting on, as well as whether or not you've won. It also means that one of the two options will pay out so long as there's that half point on the totals line. But do keep in mind, these wagers are not even bets. You typically have to bet slightly more than $100 to win $100. This is a great way to bet on a game without having to bet on one team or the other, and you may even be able to do a bet on totals for just a quarter, a half, or a game when it comes to a sport like football or basketball. That'll do it for our totals strategy guide. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and keep checking out GamblingSites.org for more picks, tips, and of course, how-to guides. I'm Drew Goldfarb. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.